clearly a bit of a FI selling problem. So that's also another interesting stock. I think Granules perhaps could be the stock to watch because that's the one where at least the earnings look better. And IndusInd Bank, of course, I think market latching onto positives on that, so that's looking interesting. But the Nifty is now selling off a bit. Remember, 15,600 thereabout has been the lower end of the range, so we are almost getting there. Mitesh, any trade on the index or any individual stock?
Anuj, we've maintained to do some put spreads on the index. I think there is a chance of break below 15,590-600 zones, and I think if that happens, we could see another 253 points being shipped off. And on the stock side, I think you've already discussed that Granules was a big breakout few days back, gave a pullback to about 360, 365 zones. Again, with the numbers coming in, the stock has started well. I think that's a buy with a stop below 363, and 400 should be the target.
Torrent Pharma is now down 3%, and that's where you thought the numbers were good. That just tells you the kind of mood that the market is in, at least as far as the pharma sector is concerned. 3% down on that stock right now. Ramco Cements is the other one, which is seeing a bit of a sell-off, down 2%. Dr. Reddy is down 1.5%. Cipla is down about 1.5% as well. Mitesh, thanks a lot for joining us. Gautam Trivedi is joining us now, co-founder and managing director. Okay, Gautam, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. What's your call on the pharma sector? Because that's where we've seen quite a bit of sell-off between yesterday and today.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that one specific incident with respect to the SEC and Dr. Reddy's has brought down the entire pharma sector. I mean, the sector really has done very well over the last 24 months. And if you look at the pharma index itself, the NSE pharma index, in fact, it's up over 50% in the last 12 months. So I think this is this one incident that seems to have impacted the pharma sector. So I would be careful at this point. I think it could be a bit of a risk-off trade currently on pharma, assuming this spreads to other pharma companies.
Okay, risk-off trade in pharma. How about the markets, Gautam? It's been a very, very smooth ride so far, especially if you're a bull. Do you think that it's only going to get better, or do you think that some consolidation, could be the order of the day?
I think there will be consolidation, and clearly that's being led by the absolute amount of money that's going into the IPO market, as we've seen, whether it's Zomato or a whole bunch of other, even smaller names that are getting hugely oversubscribed. So that money, which otherwise would have gone into the secondary market, is clearly finding its way to the primary market. And as a result, I think there is obviously consolidation. Having said that, I think, and I've been a big proponent of the FII flows, you've seen about just over 7 billion year to date, which is really peanuts for foreign institutional investors. And frankly, I think as the pace of vaccinations increase, you'll see the pace of net FI investments also increase in India. So I think that's going to be important. On the domestic flow side, I mean, you've seen the numbers that are actually very impressive. So I was going through, for example, Nippon India's latest numbers. AUM grew as much as 41%. Again, this is debt and equity, but it's still a big number nonetheless. And what's interesting is that 19% of that was from beyond the top 30 cities. So you're seeing a wider penetration of the equity culture in India, which is, I think, positive for the long term.
Okay. Well, Gautam, I want to ask you about your own fund, the Nepean Long-Term Opportunities Fund. You all have, it was supposed to end only in 2023. You've asked investors to take away money. What message should we take from that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't read too much into my small fund being impacting the entire market. But to be honest, I think what we took, well, you're right. The life of the fund, it was a 5-year closed-ended fund, an AIF Cat 3. And the life of the fund was, still over 2 years away.
Yeah.
But what we decided to do was given 2 reasons. One, of course, we did find in some of our stocks that we held, valuations were getting stretched. And more importantly, we are launching our second fund later this week. So as a result, we wanted to actually show proof of concept that we've actually raised money, invested it wisely, made money, and more importantly, returned the money. Because otherwise, when you go to market a second fund, you're talking of an NAV, but it's not been actually a proven NAV. So that's what we did. So I think that's really the reason that prompted us to do that. And all of our investors are extremely happy that we did that.
Okay. Yeah, and anyway, you all did very well. I think 96% rise, right? Year on year, beating the benchmarks. Okay. Congratulations on that. But nevertheless, if you can explain this seeming contradiction, you think valuations are stretched and that's why you return the money when, the fund is still at a very high NAV. At the same time, you're asking for more money, or rather you're prepared to invest more. So where are the pockets of undervaluation in that case?
That's a very, very good question, and I'll tell you what the philosophy is. So our underlying philosophy, even though we're a mid and small cap fund, the underlying philosophy is to find stocks that we believe have identifiable triggers that haven't been priced in and will play out over the next 2 to 3 years or 5 years, as the case may be. So at any point of time, whether it's a bull market, bear market, or the market's sideways, it doesn't matter. There are always enough companies that have got interesting dynamics, whether it's restructuring, deleveraging, change of ownership, a brand new CEO coming that will hopefully change the fortunes of the company, next generation coming in and significantly positively impacting the stock, as we've seen in the case of Sanjeev Bajaj or Siddharth Lal.